Before we continue, we'd like to give a shout out to our friends at the New Brunswick Aviation Museum. Are you passionate about aviation and preserving Canada's rich military and civilian aviation history? Look no further than the New Brunswick Aviation Museum, or simply known as the NBAM, one of the newest and most exciting museum projects in the country. Located in the heart of New Brunswick, the NBAM is dedicated to honoring the men and women who served in Canada's #1 Air Division. As a provincially incorporated not-for-profit organization and a registered charity with the Canadian Revenue Agency, the NBAM relies solely on donations to bring this project to life. The New Brunswick Aviation Museum will be a premier destination for aviation enthusiasts, historians, and anyone interested in exploring the fascinating story of flight in Canada. But in order to make it a reality, they need your support. So how can you help? It's very easy. Simply visit the donation page at canadahelps.org or simply click the link in our episode description to make a secure donation online. Every contribution, big or small, will bring them closer to achieving their goal of creating a world-class aviation museum that New Brunswickers can be proud of. Together, we can make this vision a reality and preserve the rich aviation history of our province for generations to come. Donate today and be a part of this exciting journey. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Corcoran Entertainment Show. I am your host, Franky Corcoran. How we all doing today? The holidays are coming. We are officially 1 week away from Christmas Eve, which is unreal to think about. Hope you all got your Christmas shopping done. I am going to hunker down this week and finish it all, and then I'm good to go. Not that I procrastinate, but it's just, sometimes you just get busy. And, it is what it is. And, but, as long as it gets done, that's the main thing. Just so you guys know what's going to go on with the podcast this week, we got a cool little episode coming on Thursday. And then we have our season finale on Christmas Eve, which is a week from today. And then we're going to take a hiatus. And then we'll be back with season 4 on January 7th. We'll take a little week break for the holidays, and then we'll be back with an all-new season, which is crazy that we're already at season 4. Thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen to the show these past few years. It's been a great ride, and hopefully many more to come. We'll see how it goes. But definitely, if you like the podcast, be sure to give it a nice rating on Spotify and all that, and keep it going. Use some of our links in the description to buy some of the products with the companies we're affiliating with. And you also may have noticed a ad for the New Brunswick Aviation Museum right at the start of this episode. Great thing that I'm working with them on, and excited to bring this vision of theirs to life too. So definitely, if you guys are able to donate, definitely be sure to click the link in our episode description and to give a little donation. It doesn't have to be much. It can be as much as you want, whatever you prefer, just to help fund this big project. So anyways, moving on to our guest today. Great conversation. He is a very, very talented actor who stars in the new film Somewhere in Montana, which releases on January 10th. Matt Drago, I had his wife Laura on. It was, I think, in October, I believe I had her on. And just two of the most lovely people that I've ever had the privilege of talking to on the show. And great conversation with Matt. Very powerful conversation as well, too, just talking about his role in Somewhere in Montana. He's co-starring alongside Graham McTavish. Very, very excited to see it, and definitely be sure to keep listening for the amazing conversation we have together. And later on the show, I want to give my thoughts on whether I think there's too many trailers nowadays before movies, which is just ridiculous. But it is what it is. We'll talk about that. And the big news that Chris Evans is coming back to Marvel. I have mixed thoughts on it. I'll talk about that later on in the show. But until then, guys, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast today. All right, hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cork and Entertainment Show. And today I am joined by a very special guest who has been in, whether it's on the stage or on screen, he's just in everything, all types of film and TV. You can check out his new movie, which is coming out January 10th, somewhere in Montana. And that he is co-starring alongside Graham McTavish. Super thrilled to have him on here today. Matt Drago. Matt, how's it going?
I'm doing great, Frankie. Thank you so much for having me on today. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for coming on. And so, some of you guys, regular listeners of the podcast, if you guys remember last year, we had Matt's wife on, Laura Hunter Drago. So that's really cool. And you
We're
guys are
making it a
both.
family affair on your podcast.
Yes, exactly. I'll be interviewing like all your family members next.
My
You should.
dog is next, just so you know.
Yes.
Buffy's the third.
I will gladly interview your dog. I'll maybe get my dog too, and we can just do a little bark cast or something like that.
Love
Dog
it,
cast.
love it.
Let's make that happen. From what I gather from Laura compared to you, you see more of like an actor. She's more of a writer, director, producer type. Is that accurate to describe you guys? Or
Absolutely. So we actually are kind of both transitioning in our careers, which is I guess I could say she's doing more of the transitioning. She was a Tisch student at NYU. She's an amazing actress, but she just felt a couple years ago that she wanted more creative control. So she got into writing. She got into a Sundance program. She won Austin Film Festival's Best Podcast Script last year. It has perpetuated her into now 6 scripts that she has. Uh, we are collaborating a little bit more from me as the actor, kind of producer side, her more as the writer producer. I'm trying to get her into directing too. We have our own production company, Dragon Hunter Productions. Her maiden name is actually Hunter. So Drago and Hunter, Dragon Hunter Productions. We're on Instagram at Dragon Hunter Productions. And we've got a couple podcasts out right now, which is a great medium to just kind of share your stories. And, the next part is to budget our first feature film, hopefully in the next year or so.
oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so you guys kind of working together. What's it like sharing a husband wife relationship? Are there times where where it's almost like any other couple who works together? It's kind of like, my God, I'm gonna tear your head off, kind of thing. Like we're always at each other's throats. Is it kind of like that, or are you guys just more so just civil? It's just like a regular day for you guys.
Disagreements happen, to be perfectly honest, but I think like there's nothing like collaborating with someone that you love. Honestly, at the end of the day, we want the same thing. And so I think that her transitioning into writing has just been not only a gift for our maturation as artists, but it's also been a real gift for our maturation in our relationship as well. We really get each other from now different perspectives where she's asking me when I read her scripts to read it from that actor part of me where it's like, does the motivation make sense? Do the backstories make sense? Do the actions in the script make sense? And, she's just kind of caught fire recently, but because she just really does love kind of weaving the stories together. And there are a lot of, there's a lot of need right now for great human stories to be told. So to answer your question, I mean, yeah, there's always going to be, I see it that way, you see it this way, but we're all working together towards the same thing. I think so much of the creative industry that people really don't know is it's building your team. It's not just two people. It's never just two people. I mean, I think about like my manager Richard and my agent over at HRI Tanya and my amazing PR rep Mia and all the people that I collaborate with on a daily basis for my acting career is the same way that you kind of have to go into a production. Ultimately, you want like crew that you've worked with before or someone else has worked with before. You're building this team element because there is nothing better than team film is a team sport. It really is. I mean, I can speak to it more when we get into somewhere in Montana, but the crew, I mean, we just don't have a movie without them. They are really the backbone of what makes film great. And as we kind of build out this production company, starting from the ground up with podcasts, which are, low investment costs, but a way to get your material analyzed and critiqued and shared. It's given us the opportunity to start somewhere, and now obviously the next step is building our team and making a feature film happen in the next year or so.
That's fantastic. Wow. Congratulations on all that. That's quite the,
Thank you.
and it's quite the, I always say art is the most expensive and the most ambitious career path to choose just because of how unpredictable it can be sometimes. I mean, we face with the pandemic and all the changes that happen through there. How has that changed your career as an actor and stuff like that? Like going through the pandemic. I mean, you do lots of stage work too, so I know people who were working on stage and stuff like that were hit, worse than film actors because you're watching plays in groups with people, and with movies it's fine, it can go straight to streaming, whatever, and stuff like that, and you can do the safety protocols and stuff like that on set. But with stage it was so much more difficult. How did you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to stage. I mean, it's very difficult in person. I haven't actually done a stage show in a while. It's definitely something I miss. I'm also a singer, up for a couple Broadway roles, and it is a big part of my background is theater. But this film that we just shot in Montana, we're essentially like, you've got the COVID officers and just making sure that everybody is, being safe. It can be tricky, but ultimately, I hope we have moved past a lot of that at this point, where we can really just focus on being together, because there really is no better collaborative art form to bring people together than film and theater, respectively. For the in-person, leave it on the stage approach from an actor, which I love, to that film, which is acting within a more technical medium. But the reality is, it's still the same work in many ways. And when you get to collaborate with great people that you know, like, and trust, there's just nothing greater in the world than that.
And you need people that you can trust too. Like that's really, you need yes people and you need no people. I always say, because if you work with people who are just yes people, eventually something's going to go bad and the product and the quality is just going to dip. That's a big thing. I always, as much as you want to have people who just agree with everything you say, you do need people to kind of disagree with you here and there. Like you said, you and Laura will have your disagreements with certain things, but ultimately that makes you guys better, which is great.
I call
Especially,
it I call it positive dissonance, It's like you are all working towards the same goal, and it's good to have really, like you said, people that you trust to disagree with you, because ultimately they're doing it for the right reasons. They're trying to get you to see something that's out of your own perspective. I mean, that's essentially why a director exists, right? It's like, as much as like I can bring the feelings and the emotions as an actor, I need somebody that is with me from the other side, outside of myself, seeing what I'm doing. Because again, that relationship between an actor and a director, I mean, I could go on and on about it. It is special. Like, it is, it's an extremely intimate and vulnerable relationship where you really are building something together. And it's a relationship about serving each other, in that, like, when you create a role, the writer, which happens to be, the director in somewhere in Montana, you are essentially starting from that point of the collaboration process. In how did you see this character when you first put those words to the page? How do you see, the backstory influencing him and how he's making these decisions? Because in that moment where you take in all of this information and do all of this backstory, you really only get one day to, like, give that scene away. So you really have to take it all in, but then let it go at the same time, because in that moment, you really are giving that scene away. You've done all the work and you just kind of have to trust that. And that happens because of that really special relationship between a director and an actor.
The Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Podmatch, the ultimate platform designed to connect podcast hosts with prospective guests effortlessly. Are you a podcaster looking to elevate your show to new heights? Or perhaps you're a guest hoping to share your story with a broader audience. Whatever your podcasting goals are, we have the perfect solution for you. Podmatch simplifies the entire process of discovering guests for your show or finding podcasts to feature your expertise. Now imagine a platform where you can easily match with like-minded creators tailored specifically to your niche. With Podmatch, you can effortlessly network with influencers and thought leaders, all while staying true to your podcast vision. There are a multitude of ways that Podmatch can help you grow your brand. You can be part of a thriving community of podcasters and potential guests. Engage, collaborate, and grow together. If you're ready to experience these fantastic benefits for yourself, we invite you to join Podmatch today. Head over to www.joinpodmatch.com/Corkin Entertainment and sign up right now for only $6 a month. That's right, you heard me right, $6 a month. Join the Podmatch family today and watch your podcast soar to new altitudes. Thank you for tuning into the Corkin Entertainment Show, and happy podcasting. This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by Taylor Brands. Are you ready to take your brand to the next level? Whether you're launching a new business, scaling your side hustle, or just want to give your existing brand a glow up, then I highly recommend you check out Taylor Brands. Taylor Brands is an all-in-one branding platform that empowers entrepreneurs and creatives like you to express your unique identity online. Their user-friendly platform helps you design logos, business cards, social media posts, and all the promotional materials that you need to get your brand noticed. And it doesn't stop there. With Taylor Brands, you'll also get access to powerful tools to manage your social media presence and create high-quality marketing content, all tailored specifically for your brand. Join the thousands of satisfied entrepreneurs who have transformed their business identities with Taylor Brands. Sign up today and use the link in our episode description to let Taylor Brands know that we sent you. And even like with the writers too, I think that's always a good thing. Most of the movies and stuff like that do you always have the writer nearby as well too? Because it's always one of those things, if you do a play that's written by, I don't know who's a playwright who's passed away, if you're doing a Neil Simon play, well, we don't know what Neil Simon meant by this, he passed away, we don't, we can ask him, but but like with movies and stuff like that where the writer's there, it's like, okay, what did they mean by that? How important is it to have like the writers of the film or TV show nearby, just to kind of clear things up and all that? How crucial is that for you?
I think that more writers are becoming directors for this exact reason, and that's why I really want my wife to direct her first feature film within our production company, even if she co-directs it, because there's a lot of directing that is technical. And I always say that there are the more technically centric directors and there are the more emotionally centric directors, and you kind of need both. There is a balancing act. But I think that the writer, having those conversations with the writer is powerful for the actor, because again, writers a lot of times have this incredibly massive, specific imagination when they create the world of, all of these characters within, their mind. And, I'm a fellow Swiftie, so like, I just like Folklore and Evermore, for instance, those two albums are extraordinary in the way that she crafts all of these different stories, and she brings it out in her music, and then you see it on stage with the Folklore Cabin and all of this stuff. And so to be able to tap into that world that they've created for themselves, and to be able to just really connect with that and then get to that next point where you're in production and it's go time, you feel like you have just all of this like information and emotion and atmosphere and world to live off of. And it really makes the job of the actor so much easier and more joyful when you have that connection with the writer.
No, it's always so important to have that, and like you said with the directors as well. You mentioned Taylor Swift. Did you join Laura on that tour? I saw on Instagram she was gone to
We got floor
Eras tour.
seats for SoFi. It was incredible. I believe that we were the longest ovation. We were there for over 8 minutes, and every time she tried to grab the mic, we went nuts. Um, she went up to see the last show, which is crazy. Just a couple days ago, and I not only do I love Taylor Swift and what she's done as an artist, but I love the I just love I love the people that it draws. I think we're in a place in our society right now where there are a lot of people that don't get Taylor Swift or maybe don't get the fans, but a lot of it comes from such a expressive, deep need to be in touch with their emotions. And I always say, I would rather, and I hope most people agree with this, maybe not everybody does, but I always believe it's better to be in touch with your emotions and feel things in life, even if you let in hurt, because the joy will be so much greater. And I see that in her fans is that they just love to feel. And I always, for me, believe that when people are feeling, you're just at so much more of an advantage. Like I think once we shut ourselves off from that, like we let the bad in, when you are a feeling person, like the Swifties are, I believe that those are the types of people that really can overcome that good versus evil thing because they're in touch with their feelings. So for her to bring those people together and for Laura to be at the last show was really special for me too, because I know how much it meant to her, and I know how much it's gonna motivate her to keep creating into the new year and beyond.
Yes, and just because lots of people don't get Taylor Swift and like just the power and stuff like that she has. I mean, like there's many different ways to look at that. How would you really describe like how she's like literally I think it's easy to say she's the most powerful woman in the world. I think it's pretty
Yeah,
easy to say. But I
100%.
know lots of people will always do the I don't get why she's so this, blah, 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 blah. How do you see her popularity, especially when you see your wife, just how excited she is for the concert, and you as well. You're also excited too.
Of
What
course.
would you say is the like main significance of her, of like what she's meant to pop culture or just the world as a whole, being the most important woman alive? Sorry, Michelle Obama.
I think the power of Taylor Swift specifically is the power that she gives back to her fans and the collaboration that she has with them and the legitimate joy that she brings people. You can't fake how those dancers were hugging her on set at their finale. You can't fake the bonuses that she's given out. This is all free information without really asking for a thank you. Like she's a real uh, give back person in her life. And yes, I know that she has a ton of success, but the amount of commercial success that she has, which is a good thing, by the way. A lot of people think that you're selling out somehow if you're commercial. Like commercial stuff takes off because people connect with it. And, it's no different than like, are you a fan of Disney? Like, are you a fan of Wicked? Those are both really commercial entities, right? But they're beautiful. Like they do beautiful work that connects us. And I think that the power of Taylor Swift is that she connects people to each other and she gives them a platform to feel and express. And right now in this world to come together. And that's just so, so big. And I think her music is so elevated. Her words are so poetic. The things that she sings about are just so layered. They're so deep, and I think they give people just a way to really dive into their emotions and to feel together. And I say this again, I think that there is nothing better in the world than when people are tuned in and have their emotions on. And I think that we really need that right now more than ever.
No, definitely like whatever we can do to bring people together and something in common for people, because like whether it's a TV show like a Game of Thrones or something like that, or Breaking Bad that people always loved and always tune in together. Anything that we can do, or Marvel's a big thing too, or Star Wars. When it comes to Taylor Swift, that brings people together, or I don't know, like Luke Combs brings people together. Like there's all kinds of different singers and stuff like that who bring people together. Through your journey in terms of like the movie and theater world and stuff like that, is there any influences that really helped you in your journey as an actor?
Absolutely. I speak to him all the time, but I've got a lot of great teachers that I've had in my life. And, you know, Terry Schreiber is one of them. He became like a grandfather figure in my life in New York City, and just really just loved me through the process. I always felt safe opening up as an actor in his studio in Chelsea. And I think that when you are around great people, they elevate you to places that you can't even really see for yourself. I could say that about this cast specifically. I had not met Graham beforehand. The second that I met him, I just, he became a fast friend. He actually is the first person that has ever called me mate. He calls me mate, which is just a symbol of our camaraderie. And we just spent so much time together, going to breakfasts, going to dinners, having a drink together, and just really talking through the process of telling a great story together. When you think of a true pro, it's someone like Graham that, gives an actor like me who's, trying to find my way a real partner to develop a story with. And it's a very special thing that doesn't really happen in many films, but we have a 10-page scene. It's just the two of us in this movie. And it's something that we discussed really ad nauseum because we wanted to make it feel like a conversation. It's a very charged conversation. It's a conversation of the times, but we wanted to do justice to it, and we wanted it to not feel like over dramatic. We wanted it to feel really grounded. And again, I have so much joy when I think of this film and when I think about acting in general, because a lot of people don't know this. Like actors are some of the most giving people that you will know, because they wear their hearts on their sleeves bravely, and they don't apologize for it. And so many of them are true collaborators of the game. And every single person in our cast, like, just knew first off that this story was bigger than all of us, and that we just had each a part to bring ourselves fully to the table. And we all found ways to do that in different ways. And it shines through the screen. And interviews like this are so important because it gets the word out. I mean, there is so much to this industry that is a business, and we don't have the major marketing budget that studio films have, so it's about telling you today to go tell two of your friends to tell two of your friends that this is a really cool movie. And I think if you give it a shot, it will surprise you, and it will touch you in a way that maybe you needed, and hopefully bring you some clarity to some things. Or for me, even being in this film, like, it truly taught me to be a better person, a more open, a more welcoming person. I do believe that respect is the highest form of love. And I think if you can truly respect someone, like, there is that love for them that you have. And this film really speaks to a lot of it. I don't want to give too much away, but it is a meeting of a West Coast director and a Montana rancher. And we were two people that should never be in the same room together. And I think that's happening more and more. The dissonance is becoming debilitating in our society. And this is a story that speaks to that and goes right to the heart of it. And I think that is what is so powerful about art right now, is that it is a resistance, it's a wake-up call, it's an ability for us to come together and speak to something that is bigger than ourselves and hopefully will affect change in the world.
100%, 100%. And so what's it like to I mean, first off, just seeing, you can tell when there's somebody who really truly cares about what they do. Like I can sense that in you, like even as you're talking about this movie, which is great. I always love people who do that. But have you know, like running your own production company, Dragon Hunter Productions. What's it like trying to balance the, of course, like you want, you know, making these movies and stuff, and you want to make sure that the creative side and the stories and stuff of that work, but what's it like handling the business side of things where you're dealing with budgeting and stuff like that? How do you kind of balance those two factors?
It goes back to an earlier thing that we talked about. It really is building your team. You are nothing without your team. Like that is just the absolute facts of it. There is no part of my career that I don't, gladly give to my representation, the people that are trying to pitch me to get in for those auditions, to my PR reps that are fighting to get me into a publication. And it's not just for self-press. People forget that. It's the way to move forward in your career. Acting and film is very expensive, and we have to find ways to kind of bet on ourselves in a way. And that can come from making a first feature film. It can come from a movie that I have coming out this year, and betting on yourself and hiring an amazing PR rep. I just cannot say enough about Mia Hansen. She's like given me so much extra time at Portrait PR to really hone in my skills in interviews like we're having right now, or just to really get ready for that next phase in my own career. So it really does. It goes back to just this joy, and I really do see it this way, and I always have. Like, this is the joy of collaborating. I'd be the kid growing up in theaters, like learning how people were hanging the lights or how they were doing the soundboards, or anything that was creatively out of my scope. And that is actually one reason why I went to Montana a week earlier than everybody else, because as someone who is not a director in as Matt, but plays one as Fabian in the movie, I wanted to shadow Brandon, the director of Somewhere in Montana, so I could understand what it was like to be in control of my own domain, and to find a way to make the moving parts work together, because that is what film is. And so it's no different than, the actor side, where, you have your team of, your reps, your PR and agents and managers trying to figure out the business side for you. That way you can focus more on the actor side. I mean, they don't want a good rep doesn't want you to focus on pitching yourself, right? Because that never really works. You can't really pitch yourself. You have to have other people that, frankly, are more skilled at it than you are. And that was one reason why I signed with Tanya Kleckner over at HRI. Is she showed me how she would pitch me, and I was like, oh my gosh, you have such amazing skill at this. Like, this is somebody that can get me indoors because of what she showed me. So everybody has a unique skill, and they're just, I think that's the joy of it at this point, is finding my tribe, finding my collaborators, finding my team, and hitting the ground running, and leaving some really good stories behind while I'm in this life.
Yes, absolutely. Do you still get starstruck by seeing certain people? I mean, all the stuff that you've done throughout your career, like, you know, seeing Graham McTavish and stuff like that. Do you ever get starstruck by people, even working in the industry for as long as you have?
Absolutely. I think it just comes from a level of respect now. I don't think it's that same type of starstruck nature that I used to feel. It's more of just like, I'm just so grateful for your work. I'm so grateful for and I could list a lot of people that I've met, but it's just it just really honestly comes down to just the love of appreciation of what they've brought into the world. And how they've gone about their business, because there's two sides of it. There's the part that you do on camera, and then there's you as a person. And frankly, a lot of the people, that I've worked with, I've been so grateful to say that, like, I love them more than people, like, than I do even as actors. And they're incredible actors, they're incredible artists. But so much of what I gleaned from Somewhere in Montana was off screen. And I tell people all the time, it's like, obviously, like, I'm on interviews like I am today. I want the movie to do really well. I want people to see it. I think they can glean a lot from this film, but I've already won. I've already won from the experience of being with my castmates and having those wonderful conversations and collaborating with some great producers and a director, writer that had this vision of a beautiful film set in Montana where two worlds were colliding. And that in and of itself is a win. So when you are an artist, I think you have to take that approach, is that it is a journey. And there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be trials and tribulations. People always look at the red carpets, and they, at least the people that aren't in our industry, they don't understand all the hard work that it might have taken and all the no's it might have taken to get to that point. Everybody in life should celebrate their wins. Everybody. Doesn't matter how. And I understand that, actors are kind of like, they throw parties and it's a little bit more forward facing. But the day to day of acting is it's long days. The day of set, of crew. Again, I just have so much respect for these crews. I mean, look at what they did with, Wicked, and building these sets, the 9,000 tulips, Oz. Like, it's incredible how much love goes into a film, and how much joy it really does bring people that are in it for a long time. And it's just because it's such a true love of the game, because again, it's, I think, just one of the greatest art forms alive, because you're just sharing stories, and we all have stories, and there's just nothing more powerful than a good story.
Not at all. Not at all. Do you ever feel sometimes doing all that you've done? I mean, I always find sometimes whenever you know that, okay, I worked so hard to get where I am and I've certainly deserved it. But are there times where you think, why me of all people? There's like 100 people out there, actors trying to get these certain roles. How did I get lucky to do that? Like, do you ever have those feelings at all too?
Imposter syndrome is a real thing, and I haven't actually talked about it on a podcast, but this is a great opportunity for me to
Expose.
right now. Yeah, exactly. I definitely felt it. Even showing up to set for Somewhere in Montana. It's a lead in a film. For me, that is much grander than any other booking I've had in my career. So and again, I'm carrying the story along with Graham and Michelle and Kaylee and Tasha and Andrew, and there are just so many great actors that I really felt like I needed to lean on to make me feel like I belonged, and just beyond grateful that there was always space for me to have that with them. And a lot of that came off screen. A lot of it came through the dinners, or, having a really heart-to-heart conversation with Michelle that I still keep very close to my heart, looking over Flathead Lake and the mountains in Montana, and just her giving me that time. And she's such a lover of actors. It's one of the many reasons why I love Michelle Hurd, is just her love of creatives, and she fights for them and with them. She's a SAG-AFTRA member, so she's on the board, and it's just it's extraordinary what she does. I don't know how she balances her whole life, but she does it really incredibly. But I think, going back to your question, it's that we just have this real ability to, I think, when we love something so much, get past our insecurities, especially when we're around people that can help do that for us. Uh, there's a great quote that actually my wife shared with me, and it was incredible how she did it. packed a card in my luggage and I opened it up the first day that I was in Montana, about to shoot this film because she knew that I was having those doubts and that imposter syndrome. And I'm gonna butcher the quote. She's the writer. I think it's a very famous quote, but essentially it's that, the gist of it is that the roles that, weren't meant for you were never meant for you. But 100% of the roles that were meant for you will always find a way to you. And what's interesting, and I did butcher that quote, by the way, but
Laura's listening to
um,
this. That's not what I got him.
but the quote is, and a lot of people have said it in many different ways, is that the roles that are meant for you are meant for you. And sometimes as an actor, you don't even know why. And you don't even know why until after you've finished the film, which I might get a little emotional now, but I really found out why I was meant to be Fabian afterwards. And it's because, almost like we're having this conversation right now, it's in one word, legacy. And everybody, in some way, shape, or form, is very connected to the idea of legacy. Now, I do think that there are two types of people. I think that there are the types of people that, um, you know, day by day, like do the things that they feel like they should do to pass the torch, whether it's to their kids, or to their business partners or whatever it does. It's like an unconscious thing. But then there are other people like me that I would say are obsessed with their legacy. Like, and it can be a bad thing, but it can be a motivational thing too. Fabian is a director that is wildly obsessed with his legacy and what he leaves behind when he's done in this world, and it's to leave behind a couple good stories. And as we've already had this conversation on this podcast for the last 30 minutes, and we've already kind of gone over it, it's like now I've caught that bug. It reignited that fire underneath me because now I want to do that in my own life as Matt with my wife, who is this incredible writer, and tell stories that matter and bring little films to little pockets of the country. And that's kind of our motivator. That's kind of our message as a production company, is kind of what I learned from being Fabian in this movie, is that we really need each other, and people are always going to be more important than things. And if we can hold on to that and fight for it, that's a really beautiful thing. And I just had this moment of recollection with that note that Laura gave me, and knowing that, like, I was fighting against my own insecurities, but once I started doing this film and I started giving away those scenes and I started to play off such great actors, I realized, like, wow, like Fabian, like, is such a big part of me that I didn't even realize, because I was bringing a lot of myself to it. Like, that's what you do as an actor. You bring parts of yourself and you kind of weave you into the role, and you find commonalities. And I just realized that the real through line, the real core of Fabian is something that has existed in me my entire life, and it got me the ability and the opportunity to just break through and express it in a really big way.
Wow, that was powerful. That was actually really, really powerful. And it's just one of those things where you kind of just I kind of said that because the question, because there's sometimes where you're like, what, what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve all the success, blah blah blah. But you've been working in this industry for so long now, where this is kind of a lot of it has paid off. I mean, it's paid off even before this with all the work that you've done, but every part you get and every project you book is almost like, here's another reward for your hard work, here's another one, and then there's that part of you that's like, do I deserve that? Like, why am I getting all this stuff? But I think that's just uh you being humble, where it's, yes, I know I deserve this, but do I really deserve this? Like, you're kind of just going, in your mind. But I think
I
every
was
artist will go
actually,
through that.
well, yeah, I was actually just messaging back and forth with Eloise Mumford, who is in the show Cross, and just blew my mind. I mean, just did such an extraordinary job and did a lot of dark work on that character to be able to do the things that she did. Like it affected me. But it's because I've met her and I know her and I know what she did to create that role. And we have the same PR rep. And uh, there is this thing that we message back and forth, and I think it's so true of me right now, more than anything, is that I'm just in that sweet spot where I just really can appreciate it. I can really just appreciate the good things that are coming my way. It's not a competition. It's not something that um I want selfishly. It's something that if it comes my way, I will fully embrace it and enjoy it. And I can tell just based on our correspondences that she's in that sweet spot right now too. And I do think that it makes you more attractive as an artist when you really just it's the need of collaboration. It's not the need of like, I need to book this job, like, so I can make this money. It's more than that. It's bigger than that. It's this need to be around your people and be creating and be a part of something bigger than yourself and be part of the resistance and really just find a way to keep being creative. That's where my need comes from right now. And I should say like need because again, I've thought about this the last couple weeks. I feel like I've always wanted to be an actor. I love acting, but for the first time in my life, I feel like it's a need. I need to be an actor because I feel like I have a lot to share. And I feel like I know how to collaborate, and I feel like I love to collaborate. And I, I mean, I'll speak to, I think it's actually on my Instagram when I rapped as Fabian. I just thanked just different people that had just given me so much love through the process and different people in different ways. I mean, there was, there were different crew members that were just so I was so personally connected with. Troy is one that comes to mind, and he was basically packing up like all of our film equipment every day, and just like a very incredibly tedious job that he did with such grace. And he gave me such like light over and over again as a light warrior and which is somebody that just gives you like energy and gives you good energy. And I can't imagine my performance without him. I think that there's a lot of things that happen backstage that only like an artist or someone that's been through that process can truly understand. I think about Wicked right now. There are so many moments. The Oz Dust Ballroom scene is something that broke me because even the editor himself said you couldn't hide behind the songs, you couldn't hide behind the big graphics, you couldn't hide behind anything. It was two people from two different worlds expressing themselves and getting the rest of the room not to understand it at first, but once they connected and she lets Elphaba in and they connect on a deeper level and she bears her soul, everybody joins in. And I think that's kind of a place where I feel like we're at in society is can we just join in? Can we see each other again? Can we connect on that deep, visceral level? It's a post that I did on my Instagram. I'll go ahead and share it today. It's probably my favorite picture on set, and it's a very simple picture. It's not like a glam picture at all. It's just four people. It's Brandon Smith, the writer director of Somewhere in Montana, me, um, Graham, and David, who is the actual rancher, the person that owned the ranch. And essentially, Graham was playing David, and I was playing Brandon, and different personalities, but essentially, like I'm playing the director, and Graham's playing the rancher. So, basically, we're playing those types of characters, and it's just the four of us. And you realize at a certain point in your life that, you know, there is more that can connect us than will ever divide us, but we have to be able to let each other in, like the Ozdust Ballroom. We have to be able to see each other. We need to be able to feel, like going back to the Swifties, like feeling is power. Like Taylor's power comes from the people that feel with her because she gives them the platform to do so. But, all of the friendship bracelets, all of the jewel. I mean, you've seen so many of the reels like recently. I've been seeing like so many of them and sharing them, and it's just it's glorious to see people just connecting, singing together outside of the concerts. Like that floor's even Taylor, but she gave them the platform to do that. So I feel like movies like Somewhere in Montana give people the platform to really feel together and to see what that looks like. Because again, we are in an age where we are on Zooms like we are today, that we're not around each other physically as much as we used to be. That's just the reality of our world now. But there are still ways that we can connect to each other. And it's one of the reasons why I'm really glad that Brandon fought to get this into theaters because this is a word of mouth film. We know that it's a lower budget film. We know that it's an indie, but we need those people to tell two of their friends to tell two of their friends so that they will go to that theater and spend their hard-earned money to not just see the big budget film and to give our film a chance because of the power that it speaks to. And it speaks to it because it is a film about connection, it's a film about seeing each other, and it's a film about mutual respect. And once you do that, there's that just amazing scene at the Ozdust Ballroom where once they started to see each other, everybody else just joined in, and it just could be that easy. And so I do think that movies like this can really speak to the nature of how much easier it can be as a world if we let each other in more and we truly see each other.
And see everyone's potential. You know what I mean? We all got great
Yes.
potential, and it's just how do we get that out of somebody? Like some people can be very, introverted. They don't want to do much. They don't want to put themselves out there. But if you don't do that, you're gonna miss out on some great opportunities and not just that, like opportunities for themselves, but for opportunities to work with others and to help further their businesses and their endeavors and all that. So that's why it's really important to, you know go for it. Really, that's what I always say. Like, you want to be an actor, go for it, whether it works out or not. We applaud you for trying. And you've went out there and you've made it. You really, really have, man. And so, congratulations on all your success. So where can people watch somewhere in Montana? Somewhere in Montana or somewhere in the world
Somewhere in
or
Montana. Yeah, Somewhere in Montana is coming out in theaters January 10th. It is going to be, we don't know what theaters it's going to come to. I will be sharing everything, and it's probably the best way just to connect with me for any updates is to go to my Instagram, where I'm most active, and that is just at Matt Drago, MattDrago, at Matt Drago on Instagram. Give me a follow there. I will be sharing all the updates as they come. I also have my Dragon Hunter Productions tagged there. You've got my link tree with all my links, my website, my IMDb, if you want to check that out. It's all on Instagram. I'm very Instagram centric because there are way too many social media channels, and Instagram is the one that I liked the most. It's simple, so follow me at Matt Drago on Instagram, and I'll keep you posted with all the updates as they come for what theaters it will be in, and also what streaming platforms it will be available on. And usually, streaming platforms come in like a couple weeks after the theatrical run. We just don't have that information yet, but once we do, I will definitely share it. So check it out on my Instagram and get all those updates and just get ready to see a great movie. Again, like this is kind of a role of a lifetime for me. And I told Brandon that when I got the part is that, I really meant it. And I said it when I wrapped. I said I just really wanted to make sure that I gave you everything that I had that you needed. That's a really important thing for a legacy piece because I know that this is his legacy too. And I don't take that lightly. And I think that's ultimately why he gave me that part. Again, I think he saw something in me giving me the role of Fabian that I didn't even see in myself when I got it. I didn't realize the depth um, of the need for the obsession with legacy that Fabian has, and until he gave that to me. And I think we connected over that because he has that same obsession because he is in Fabian as well. And so I wanted to make sure that I did this film justice. I remember going off set and checking in with his wife, who's our costume designer, Judy Smith, all the time, and just making sure that checking in with her that I was kind of doing the role justice because no one knows Brandon better than his own wife, right? So it just it, this film is personally just a gift for me. It continues to be a gift for me. It awakened a need, not a want, to be an actor in my life and to collaborate and give back because there's nothing greater than being on set and just being with your people and collaborating and telling a good story together. Again, there is just nothing more powerful in life than the power of a good story.
And doing it with the people you love too just makes it even better. And that
Amen.
this is the role of a lifetime, like that, which that makes it even better. This is your magnum opus. You're not doing anything else after this. You're retiring. This is Matt's last role that he's ever gonna do, guys. So make sure you check it out. That's
Right. No, I honestly, it's amazing. There is so much of this business that can, and if any young actors are listening right now, there's so many parts of this business that can really truly bog you down and take you away from your love of the art. Uh, keep it simple. Keep loving stories. Keep loving collaboration. Be joyous in every opportunity. Michelle gave me a lot of this in our talk. Is every time she gets an audition, she just, and she's like fire, she's like, oh, I get so excited and like, and you can see it in her and she means it. It's like every opportunity that you get. And I'm actually about to film an audition right here, right after this, after this podcast, is that I'm excited about it. I'm excited about what I can bring to the role, but I have zero expectations at the same time. If it's a role that's meant for me, it will come my way. Again, Laura, I'm sorry I'm butchering it, but again, it's like what the roles that are meant to find you will always find a way. And Fabian found a way to me, and it was just because Brandon saw in me something that I didn't see in myself, and that is in and of itself like the beauty of collaboration. I'll just speak to like Ariana Grande when she got Glinda, and I just remember what she said. The first thing that she said was, "I'll take such good care of her," and I think that's just such a beautiful testament to someone that's an artist. Is I'll take such good care. Like that's how I felt about Fabian. I wanted to take such good care of him. It meant so much to me almost in an obsessive way, which Brandon even said, like, it's like you're doing good. Like, don't, but again, that is something in myself that is Fabian. He's running against the clock. His film is so big for him. And nothing will stand in his way. And I feel like it's when it's coming from such a good place, which is how I feel right now in my life, where I'm just I'm in that sweet spot. I'm just so grateful for all the opportunities that come my way, and even the future ones. And honestly, even the auditions that I get to put myself on tape for and get to feel, because again, Michelle says this, not to quote her again, but every time you get an audition is an opportunity to be an actor. You have no control of whether you get the part or not, but you have an opportunity to enjoy the fact that you get a shot at it and that you get to put your stamp on what it would look like if you did it. And I just go back to that original audition that I had for Fabian. And even then, I couldn't quantify at that time what it was that made me Fabian. But when I rapped, I truly knew why I was cast as Fabian, and it really brought me a lot of joy, because I felt like it was a gift that was given to me, and I'm just ready to, as a producer in my own films, give those gifts to other up and coming actors, because that's been like really cool. Is like even casting the talented actresses that we've had on a couple of our podcasts. Like it's all about giving back. It's all about collaboration. It's all about finding your people. And again, I smile all the time when I think about it. It's about, leaving a legacy behind through storytelling, which is just ignites my soul.
I can really feel the passion. Like I said earlier, I can feel the passion when it comes to, your work and stuff. And that makes me so excited to check out this movie somewhere in Montana. Very, very excited. January 10th. Be sure to look out for that, guys. Matt, thank you so much for coming on. Say hi to Laura for me, by the way, as well.
Will do, Frankie.
And best of luck in all of your future endeavors.
Frankie, thank you so much for having me today. This has been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate it. We before we started the interview, we said, what did we say? We said, are there any points that you want to say or this or that? And I said, no, the conversations honestly are always best when they're completely improvised like we did today. So I really, really enjoyed it today. Thank you, Frankie.
It felt more natural. It didn't feel like you were just like reading off a script or anything. It came from the heart, and I could feel it in your voice and just the passion. So that's what it's all about. We want real conversations, no AI, none of that bullshit. This is the real
Yep.
us. So guys,
100%.
we're gonna
Amen.
take a short break. We'll be right back. But until then, this is Franky and Matt Drago signing off. Have a good one, Matt.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Cork and Entertainment Show. That was me and Matt Drago. Be sure to check out his new movie coming out next year, somewhere in Montana, with him and Graham McTavish. So thank you very much, Matt, for coming on. Really appreciate it, and great talking with you. And congrats on all of your success, man. Really, really excited to see where it all goes. So moving on to our first solo discussion topic today. Before we get into the big one that was announced, I was going to do the big one first, but then I'm like, no, I'll do this one first, just to kind of, save the biggest for last. Because this one right here isn't more so like entertainment news or anything like that. This one is just more so just complaining. Which I like to do from time to time. It's never a bad thing. As film fans, we can do that, or entertainment fans in general. We have a tendency to do that. This one is with regards to commercials before movies and trailers before movies, and how I think nowadays it feels like there's more trailers and commercials before a movie starts than ever before. This is just coming off. So just recently, I just went to go see the new Trailer Park Boys movie, Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, which, really, really good movie. Had a blast with it, and, real funny, and actually pretty touching at some moments, which was surprising for, Trailer Park Boys tends to do that sometimes. But this movie in particular really tugged at the heartstrings, for me anyway. I can't speak for everybody else, but really, really good movie. If you want a good laugh, if it's playing in your theater, I actually did not even know it was playing in my theater until a few days before it came out. I said, oh, geez, well, now time to go see it. Not going to do a review of it because by the time this comes out, it's, but great movie, and I highly recommend it if it's in your if it's in your theaters and it's still playing. But it was during that movie that I realized just how many ads play before movies. Now, there's two ways to look at it. Of course, that's how the moviegoers or the movie theaters and the advertising, that's how they make their money. And so in that regard, I completely get it. It's part of the experience, and we should all just accept that. And I agree with that. I think we should accept it. That's just how it is. But when you shove so much of it down our throats, it gets almost to the point now where I'm like, I don't really care to hear what you're going to say now. As bad as it might say, unbelievable. So yeah, so like I said, went to go see Trailer Park Boys, Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties. Great movie. But oh my God, so the movie started at 6:50, the one that I went to, it started at 6:50. The movie didn't start till about 7:25, 7:30ish. Because it had insane amount of advertisements, like more advertisements than usual. Then they put out 2 trailers. Then they put out about 4 more advertisements, and then 2 more trailers. That took it up to from 6:50 to 7:25. I'm not even joking when I say that. I swear to God, I'm not trying to exaggerate for dramatic effect. That is legit how long it took. And that's when it really sunk into me. Okay, look, I get it. You guys got to make your money somehow. That is understandable. And it's it's normal. Like anybody who says, I can't believe they play trailers before movies and blah, 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 blah. You see, that's part of the experience. So like if you know that they're going to be playing about, a couple advertisements and some movie trailers, you're looking at if the movie starts, any other experience I would have gone to with this movie, it would have been movie starts at 6:50. But with the trailers and stuff, it's probably not going to be till about, 7:10, 7:05 maybe. 7:10 at the latest. I'm not sitting there waiting for another friggin' almost a whole hour. I'm not exaggerating or anything like that to say that I was waiting for an hour. I was not waiting for an hour. But it gets to a point where I'm like, oh my God, how many advertisements do they have to? Because I think that's one of the things that's killing movie theaters now. It's not just the pandemic and sitting out. I think, honestly, I don't think that's much of an issue nowadays. I think what's killing the movie theaters is streaming and all that stuff like that, where you can watch it online and you don't have to worry about going in to see it publicly. You can just go on Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever and just watch it from there. Now, in a lot of cases, that's fine because some movies are just better to watch from home, really, especially Joker 2. I watched Joker 2 digitally, so I didn't have to waste my money on a movie ticket, and I'm glad I did that because Joker 2 was Joker 2. That's all I got to say. But, oh my God, man, it was a ridiculous amount of just advertisements before the movie to the point where I'm like, there needs to be... I don't know, I'm not saying no advertisements at all. I'm fine with the advertisements. It's the number of advertisements. And if they want to keep their businesses going and stuff like that, and they don't want people to get annoyed and frustrated, this, that, and the other thing, you can't be shoving that much stuff down our faces, man. And I know it's trivial to mention. I know it might not sound like a big deal, but to me, it's just weird. It's just really, why are you dumping so many advertisements? Like I said, I get it. It's the money, but it's the amount that they put into it. And I didn't really realize that just until I saw this movie, Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties, just how many ads there are now, which is just ridiculous. It was 20 advertisements, just ridiculous. So I guess there's not really a point to this solo segment. It's more so me just venting about how much I don't like that there's so many ads before movies, which, like I say, is not a bad thing. That's how they make their money and this and that. But I just think it's ridiculous that you got to jam so much in people's faces, especially when they're the ones who are wondering, well, how come, people still aren't coming to the movies? Well, that's probably part of the reason is because you're putting all this stuff before movies and we don't want to see this all the time. That's how you make money. Okay, go ahead, fine. But just limit it down a little bit. Keep it to how it was. I liked how it was before, where it was just maybe two commercials, 3-4 trailers. That's it. trailers are about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and that's it. You know what I mean? Like, not friggin', you're not sitting there for like, yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna vent about that anymore. Like I said, it's trivial to mention, I know, and some people might think you're just complaining, blah blah blah. I'm just expressing my thoughts that I think that if they want people to keep on coming to the theaters and stuff like that, they got to trim that down. I think not that that's the reason why people aren't going to the theaters anymore. I think streaming just has a lot to do with it. Like, I would have watched Standing on the Shoulders of Kitties on Netflix because I thought that's where it was going to go. And then I found out, oh, it's playing in theaters. And then find out it's playing in my theater too. Because, normally all the Trailer Park Boys movies come out in my theater. But for this case, I didn't know if it was going to. But here we are. Saw it. Great movie. And but just lack... there needs to be a little regulation where we can't dump too many advertisements on, I think. And like I said, it might seem like a no big deal or anything like that. But when you can just sit at home at streaming and watch it without any of those advertisements or trailers or anything like that, just watch the movie for the movie, that's why movie theaters are suffering right now. And I think if you trim them down a bit, I think things will be much better. But anyways, that's just my thoughts. Be sure, guys, to let me know your thoughts in the comments or social media and all that stuff. Do you think they play too many trailers and commercials before the movie starts? Or are you like me where it's like, okay, just start the damn movie already? Like, just start it already. Come on. Like, this is annoying. Anyways, be sure to let me know your thoughts on that. This episode of the Corkin Entertainment Show is brought to you by audiobooks. This website allows customers to choose from over 125,000 of the best sellers and hottest titles of all genres. Audiobooks can be downloaded directly to one of the free iPhone, iPad, or Android apps, or streamed instantly from almost any internet-enabled device to listen to. Whether you're driving, doing chores, or going for walks, audiobooks is there for you anytime, anywhere. Not sure if audiobooks are your thing? No worries. Audiobooks.com offers a 30-day free trial. That means you can explore thousands of titles at no cost to you. If you find that audiobooks aren't quite your style, you can cancel anytime, no strings attached. With such a low-risk opportunity, why not give it a go? Sign up for a free 30-day trial today using the link in our episode description to let audiobooks.com know that we sent you. And so moving on to the, as I said, the best for last, the biggest one for last. This is the big one. I've talked about it on the podcast before, whether there always be statements made about whether this is going to happen and stuff like that. And I was always kind of, I don't think so, but maybe in some capacity. Here we are. It's official. Chris Evans is returning to the MCU for Avengers Doomsday. Now, when I first saw this, I swear to God, the first thing I said was, yeah, cool. It's one of those, because last week I talked about the whole Hugh Jackman thing where these fan sites are always posting on Facebook saying, oh, it's confirmed, Hugh Jackman's coming back. And that was what I thought it was. I said, yeah, bullshit. Yeah, right. So then I went and hopped on, I looked it up just to see, because it was Fandango who reported it. I was like, oh, cool, but where are they hearing that from? So I went on. It's being reported everywhere. Deadline, which is the article I'm going to read, Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Entertainment Weekly, they're all these big outlets are reporting this. And I'm like, what? I was like, what? This is real? So this is the article from Deadline. Chris Evans returning to Marvel for Avengers Doomsday. Chris Evans is coming back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe for the Joe and Anthony Russo directed Avengers Doomsday. At this point in time, the role isn't entirely clear, but sources say that Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson character will also return as Captain America. Evans in the Captain America costume seems less likely. However, it wouldn't be a shock if he reprises Steve Rogers. Evans recently had a cameo in the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time, the MCU's Deadpool and Wolverine, as his character from the Fox Marvel early aughts days, which are also pre-Captain America, Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four movies, which was the funniest. I couldn't believe it. I was in the same boat as like everyone else. We're like, oh my God, he's going to say it, Avengers, and then flame on. Absolutely, what the hell? So, but the article goes on to say, as Deadline previously reported, expect many MCU OG characters to return in the Russo brothers' latest. As unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con back in July, Robert Downey Jr. Will be stepping into the role as the main baddie, Doctor Doom. If that isn't the upside, or if that isn't upside down multiverse enough. Evans was always iffy on whether as he would need a strong reason to return. The new Fantastic Four, they talk about, just the history and stuff like that. And Avengers Doomsday hits theaters on May 1st, 2026. And the Russos have Avengers Secret Wars happening in May 2027. Marvel Studios had no comment. But it's official, guys. It's official. Chris Evans is coming back to the MCU. Now, I guess you could technically say, of course, yeah, he did come back post Endgame, because of course he was in the cameo in Deadpool and Wolverine, but coming back in Avengers Doomsday, see, I got a lot of mixed emotions about this one. On one hand, Captain America, I mean, like, him and Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark, made the MCU, all the Avengers movies and stuff like that. They were really the heart and soul of it. And it's felt a bit. There's been a bit of a void, of course, in the MCU since they both left. Of course, Tony Stark was killed off, but we're getting Robert Downey Jr. back as Doctor Doom. But then also Chris Evans, him as Steve Rogers, Captain America, he retired and passed it on to Sam Wilson. Now he's an old guy. So it's another desperate move, it sounds like. Regardless of who he comes back as, it just feels desperate. It really, really does. We don't know what role he's going to play. That's one thing we don't know for sure yet, so we can't really comment and say too much, because we don't know, is he going to be playing a variant? Is he going to be back with the Captain America shield and this and that? It's just so, oh my God, it's really desperate. It really, really is at this point. Now, I do see the potential. This is one thing that I gotta make sure that people understand. I see the potential that comes with Chris Evans coming back. There's lots of potential that can come from this. But I just think, I don't know. Because the problem I had with Robert Downey Jr. coming back as Doctor Doom, the reason why I had a big problem with it is because it feels like that they're choosing the actor before the character. I want to see Doctor Doom be his own character. I don't want to see Doctor Doom be some Tony Stark variant or something like that. Maybe that's not what they do, and he just coincidentally has the same face as Tony Stark, but whatever. And the same deal with Chris Evans. Like I said, we don't know what capacity he's going to be back in. That's the one thing that we do not know. We don't know if he's going to be Captain America again. We don't know if he's going to be playing one of Doctor Doom's subordinates, and he's just going to have the same face as Captain America. But to me, I get it. You're trying to, really, from a business point of view, it's very smart to bring them back. It is very, very smart to bring them back. From a story perspective, it just feels desperate because, of course, you had Kang Dynasty, and then there was all that controversy with Jonathan Majors, and then they're like, okay, we need to get Doctor Doom in, but who's gonna be Doctor Doom? Well, let's get all the butts in seats and just put Robert Downey Jr. as him, because people will come up to see him, because people love the MCU when Robert Downey Jr. was there. And the same thing feels with Chris Evans. I feel like now that we have them both back, now, like I said, we don't know what role or what sort of capacity we're going to see him in. Is it going to be a Captain America variant? Steve, I don't know. There's just some things we just don't know. But right now, it just feels like just pure, just desperate, plain and simple. That's what it feels like. It really just feels like they just want to get more butts in seats. They think this is going to bring more attraction to the MCU and all that stuff. And I'm just not a fan of it. I'm not. It feels like they're just choosing the actors before the characters. Whoever he plays, it just feels like that's all they're doing. Some movies make it are different with that way. I know people might say it was desperate to bring Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. It was desperate to bring back Toby and Andrew for No Way Home. But guess what? They weren't already established characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They were in different universes. That's different. When it comes to Steve Rogers and Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, they were established MCU characters. Like, God, the whole Infinity Saga, they were like the main characters of it. So to me, it just feels like they're grasping at straws, throwing shit at the wall, seeing what's going to stick. And that's all it comes down to me, really. I hope it works. I hope it does. I should probably wait until more info arises about it, and then we can kind of go from there. But right now, I'm just iffy on it. That's all. But we'll see how it goes. I could be completely wrong. In 2 years, I'll be doing this, and I'll realize, okay, I was wrong. It was a perfect idea to bring them back in this capacity. We'll see. I don't know. But just my current thoughts right now is just desperate. That's all it comes down to. It's just desperate. But that's just my opinion, guys. I don't want to speak for everybody, but that's just how I'm feeling about it. Be sure to let me know what you guys think on social media. And I'm going to kind of collect my thoughts about this, and maybe I'll warm up to the idea as time, because I've warmed up a little bit to the Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr. thing, because I do see the potential there. But now that you're throwing Chris Evans in there again, I don't know. That just screams desperate to me. Anyways, guys, that's enough for that. I did ranting. For the last 20 minutes here, I've just ranted about some stuff that might seem trivial to you guys, but whatever, it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed. So thank you guys for listening to the show today. I want to thank my guest, Matt Drago, for coming on. And just so you guys know, this week we got an episode coming Thursday, and then we have our season finale coming in a week from 1 week from now on Christmas Eve, and then we will take a break and be back on January 7th. So very much looking forward to it. Hope you guys get all your Christmas shopping done and just enjoy the rest of your holiday season. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you Thursday. Until then, this is Franky signing off. Have a great week, everybody.